David spotted one of these who lives 12 miles up the road, and he said, it's one of these, you've not covered it, you know. So I checked up and I hadn't. When I checked up, I'd actually got one in stock, brand new in a box. The trouble was, it was in the room Mr. Chippy's been using as a bedroom for 9 months while he was stuck here on lockdown. So he wasn't here. With him not being here at the moment, I've gone and and pulled it off the pile, and it's the Midland 210DS, which appeals to me because it's low in the range, and chances are it'll work quite well. I might be totally wrong, it might be a load of rubbish, but we're going to find out. So we did have a new one in stock, and I'm not quite sure whether this is still current or whether it's been and gone 9 months ago. It's sad to say that the cheaper the sets, the better I tend to find they are. I just don't get that. It's a bit like that with motor cars. I once owned a Mercedes car for 4 hours and then rejected it as unmerchantable quality, going back to 1979. So we've got a microphone. Oh, the pile of radios is going to be horrendous when he comes back. I wouldn't expect there to be an instruction book because there never is. I think our wholesalers think, oh, it's going out to Mr. 21. Oh, we won't give him an instruction book. Setting the UK frequencies, got a little stuffer sheet. So we've got a cigarette lighter plug which always tells me that they don't intend you to install this, but just to kind of shove it in on the seat with a mag mount aerial. Okay, so it lit up there with EC, so obviously we have to put it into a different mode. So, ensure the unit is switched off. When pressing up and down buttons together, switch your unit on. And then I expect we do this until that must be UK. And then what do we do? Press the PTT button or wait 5 seconds. Well, I haven't got the mic plugged in, folks. It's a 4-pin mic socket. So we waited more than 5 seconds. Did it remember it was UK? No, of course it didn't. So that's a load of bunkum, isn't it? Start again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and a bit. 0, 1, 2, 3. Plug it into the other equipment while we're waiting. Slowly plug it into the other equipment. La di da di da di da. Plug it into all this equipment. Taking about 30 seconds doing it. Did it take effect? No, of course it didn't. The instructions are duff, aren't they? Press the PTT. So now it'll be UK. So it doesn't go into, it doesn't do what it says in the instruction book. You have to press the PTT. And it wasn't because where the mic connected. So now we should have got UK in that position, and then CPT FM only in that position. And if the radio does have an AM circuit in it, well, you would have to put it into a country other than UK, which has that facility, wouldn't you? So, but that's of no interest whatsoever to us. So put it on channel 20. It's green display. Oh, it doesn't have an up-down mic. That's actually quite good. There's nothing worse than picking up the mic and it changing channel. So I will just put the power supply to 13.8. Switch picture in picture on. If it doesn't appear, I'll promise you I've switched it on. Hey, it does 2.8 watts. Why did that kind of go off then? No. 1 2 1 2 wallow. 1 2 1 2 1 1.5 deviation. .7 watts, 1.5 kilohertz dev. I expect the receives all right. So looking at the cyanide meter, see where we are for 12 decibel cyanide. And then I'll go to the attenuators, you can see that too. So we 1 and 5, so it's 0.54, which is fine. So far, so good. I'll put the soldering iron on in case the speaker needs to be unsoldered. As I came towards this seat, I swept the clock onto the floor. So now I have no idea what time it is. So we'll undo this, have a quick gawp at the circuitry. So, what adjustments have we actually got? Well, we've got a detector, and we've probably got an AM detector, an FM detector, and then we've got a few variable resistors for things like our different gains and that. So that's where we're going to leave it. We're not going to touch the VCO, which is there. And my hunch is that's going to be the FM detector there. So it's fiberglass board, and it doesn't have a removable speaker. Tiny little voice coil, what's that all about? Right, so I'll go and do her shopping and we'll be back in a couple of hours. Right, I'm back and I've found a bit of a circuit diagram. It's not a full service manual, but it's a lot of a service manual. And it's Thai Radio Company Limited, who's obviously behind this radio. We've got a lot of bits of circuit. We've got how it works. But not how to do any of the adjustments. So it says RV501. RV501 controls the power supply to the RF amplifier. Okay, so I'll write down RV501 is power. Then it says tuning is adjusted between 3.8 and 4 watts. There's no other controls for adjusting the TX power. So we've got 701 is deviation. And RV701. That is RV701. In AM, RV502 is AM mod. So quadrature is 401. So that's the start. So let's implement that start. So 501, let's look at our presets. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the frequency trim is going to be that one there. So we'll start by having a look to see if it's on frequency. $27,79168. It's a little bit high. It's a new set. That's how they tend to be. Well, I don't know if they get it under 79169. We'll have to look into that. Anyway, let's look at this transmit power situation. So 501. Ah, is that one. Oh, we're going to have a right job with this. Nothing fits. That does. Good grief. That's 7 watts. Okay, there's 4, drawing 1.53 amps. I wasn't expecting that. Deviation. That was way out, wasn't it? And we need to find, is it 502? No, 701. I'll just borrow that President's instruction book. So 701 deviation, 502 there, AM mod, 701 is deviation. 1 2 wallow. 1 2 1 2 wallow. That's still low. That's now full. Wallow. 1 2 1 2, about 2.1. Would have liked that a little bit more than that. So we've now got that to 4 watts. We've now got that to 2.1 kilohertz. I'd have liked 2.2. So those of you in countries where AM interests you, that's AM mod. So you'll be looking for something like 85 to 95% on a modulation meter. I'm not bothering to do that on this because it's a new set and we're only going to be using it in UK, and it would mean reprogramming it for a country which has that feature, which is the UK, but then it won't give me UK frequencies, if you get what I'm on about. So we need to find out what some of the others are, because it now leaves us with 901, 401. Check that's it. 901's up there. We know that's AM mod. We know that's power. We know that's deviation. So we've got a question mark 1 there. And we'll question mark 1 up there. So if I kind of look at the circuit diagrams and see whether we can find out what they do, hopefully one's squelch. Okay, so 401 is squelch. Looking at the circuit diagram, and to be honest, that looks like some type of voltage regulator, like the 8-volt line. I could look more deeply into that. So let's see what happens with squelch. So at the moment, we'll turn the squelch up to full. So it's coming in a bit tight at 1 millivolt. I'd like it to be 100 microvolts. So let's see whether that will, fingers crossed, back off the squelch. Yes, it will. And that's now exactly where I want it. So at the other end of the scale, let's see how sensitive the squelch is. So I'll put the signal generator back to standby, and let's just put that on the on there. So that's set the squelch manually. So signal generator on, parks at 0.3 and it's come in. Stays with us all the way down to 0.1 of a microvolt, and it comes in at 0.2 of a microvolt. It's a very sensitive squelch, and that works absolutely great. So that's pleasing. The 401 is the FM detector. So going back to that, that's 401 is the FM detector. Put S9 on the signal generator and we'll switch over to the oscilloscope. We'll turn the bench light off. So the oscilloscope's just connected across the external speaker, and we're just looking for maximum recovered audio. The tone's being generated by the signal generator, of course, and it's on 27.79125 channel 20. So we're looking for maximum recovered audio, and it was about there. that looks to be AM detector. I'll need to verify that. So I want to verify that, and I want to verify that. But other than that, could have done with a little bit more deviation, but other than that, I can't really moan. So the manual quite clearly says in this description that for AM signals, because there's the FM decoder chip, there's the quadrature tuning, the detector coil, which we've just adjusted, and then the AM also goes down here, is amplified by 401, 402, 403, goes through the detector coil for AM there, 402, which we're not touching, and then it's detected by the diodes there. So that's the AM detector for those of you in a region where you want to use that. So that's definitely clarified that position. Then 901 is up here. I've just got to verify the function of IC 901. It's confusing that we've got RV 901 next to the IC 901. Okay, so it's taken some looking, but I found it. IC 901 is DAS input, and then it goes to the FM DMOD IC. So I've rattled my brain a bit, and it's digital auto squelch, isn't it? So let's move forwards to the squirkit diagram. I've missed it. Yes, 901. And the preset RV901. So quite a sophisticated bit of circuit there. There we go, that's the last bit of the jigsaw. So with the radio set to 3 millivolts, make it 1 millivolt, we'll fiddle with that to just prove it and then reset it for 3 microvolts. Yep. Have it coming in there. No, we'll have it in at 1.5. It's about where it's coming in. That's better. It's coming in at 2 now. So we are auto squelch. So the only things we're not touching is AM mod, because we're not doing AM today, and AM detector on receive, which are easy to set up with recovered audio like we did with that, but with an AM signal. So with that we've got 4 watts and 2.1 deviation. I would have liked 2.2 deviation, but it isn't going to do that. So that we'll put it together and put it on an aerial. We'll put it together the right way around as well. What I like about this, it's got a minimum of controls. So if you do want to use CPT, you just flick it across and it's in there. It's got a DAV channel 9 switch. I'm not sure what all that's about, because certainly in this country nobody takes a blind bit of notice, and we've got farmers operating on channel 9 here. Could understand 19 being more use, but then you can't use 19, can you, because it's full of the burner brigade. Right, so we'll pop the screws in that. I prefer these kind of radios than ones with knobs all over the place. Now, Wholesalers has delivered today, and one of the things they've delivered is a President Richard, which is a brand new set with a real meter. So we'll be looking at that tomorrow. So finally, if we look on the cyanide meter, 12 decibels, and we look at the attenuator, that is 0.52. So it was 0.454. That's that slight detector adjustment. So put 0.52 microvolts for 12 dB cyanide. For 10 dB cyanide, it is doing 0.41 for 10 dB cyanide. And if it does 20, some radios do, some radios don't. It's all down to noise on transistors. It's 1.4 microvolts for 20 dB cyanide. So with that, we'll switch the picture-in-picture off. We'll switch the signal generator off, and we'll plug the aerial in, and we'll unplug the test equipment's speaker input. Okay, well, we're not as usual going to hear anything on here, and so you've got a basic set. I suppose the channel 19 switch could be useful if 19 was usable, which certainly isn't anywhere I've been in the UK. On-off volume, it's got auto squelch in the down position, then through to manual squelch, and we did set up that nicely. Up down on the radio, but you've got on-off volume and squelch, and to me that is so important mobile. Stuff the meter, I don't need meters. Mic with no buttons on it, that's ideal, you don't catch them when they're kicking around in the car. So to me that's a nice radio. I can't show you the target meter because I've pinched it and put it on bench 4A, but if it is doing full 4 watts on this test set, and there was no difficulty in getting that. The only slight disappointment is we only managed to get 2.1 kilohertz deviation, but I'm sure it'll be fine on the air test. I mean, the difference between 2.1 and 2.2 isn't very much, and 2.2 is where we would have liked it. It's got a TX light for that reassurance, and most of these new sets today, the bar graph display is quite simply programmed to show so many bars. It's not an RF meter at all. We did one recently, was it the President Johnson? It was, but that's a 250 quid set. Don't know how much these are. We've had it in stock for about 9 months. And I think they were out about 2016, to be honest. I think we've missed the boat on them. But so that was preempted by David up the road who'd spotted one second hand for sale. I said, yeah, we've got one of those new. So there you are. It's the Midland 210DS. And it looks like it works fine for me. So thank you for watching. And scratchy corner test when Mr. Chippy comes back from his holiday.